Yo, what's good, fellas? It's your boy Six Paths Dunga back again with yet another reaction video. Okay, first things first, I gotta talk to you guys about chapter 23. It's not a big concern, it's just a minor setback that we will get over. So many of you guys know I love to go live with you guys as soon as the chapter 23 spoilers drop. Basically, review the whole chapter before it even comes out. I have been doing it nearly every single month since 2 Blue Vortex came out. I say out of the 23 chapters, I live streamed about 19 of them. So yeah, it's a majority of chapters I already went through with you guys. So for this month, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go live with you guys. I'm sorry, but as you guys know, Shueisha loves to do their purges around this time of year. I mean, it's really random. They just go on random purges, copyright striking other content creators. So when they do that, you really got to be cautious. So originally, I was just going to live stream and not leave it up. I was just going to take it right down. But I decided not to take any chances at all. So there probably won't be a live stream for this month. I don't know about next month. We got to see. But as for this month, there won't be any live stream. That means we just gotta go crazy when chapter 23 drops. We're gonna go crazy with the analysis video. We're gonna bounce back, all right? Don't worry about it. It's a minor setback. But I know a lot of people don't care about it. I just felt the need to tell you guys for the people who actually do care. But yeah, okay, let's get into the video. So one thing I love to react to is new potential powers and abilities for Boruto. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer that Boruto hasn't shown us everything he has in the bag. I'm pretty sure a lot of people believe that too. I, for one, think he can perform fire style techniques. You know, he's a student of Sasuke, a genius. It's only a matter of time until he busts out a fireball jutsu or something like that. Anyway, he has a lot of techniques in the bag that he probably hasn't shown us just because it's not the time for it, or maybe Ikimoto wants to save it for a later time. And one of those techniques I said that he probably learned is Kirin. I think I have multiple videos on my channel going over all the potential abilities that Boruto learned throughout the time skip. Kirin was one of them, fire style. I even had like a purple lightning style Chidori. You know, it was a lot of techniques, but Kiromaki uploaded one and I'm interested in, so we're gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it, bro. And as it pertains to Jura too, definitely need to watch this video. So before we get started, as always, you guys know who Kiromaki is. One of the biggest Boruto creators out there. One of my favorite creators, really genuine guy. We had a couple interactions here and there, you know what I'm saying, not too much. But from what I could tell, he's a real genuine guy. So I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description. So just show him some love, you know, maybe tell him that I sent you, show some love and positivity. The video's at 500 likes right now. I don't know when I'm gonna upload this, so I don't know what the like count is gonna be whenever I upload it. It could be after chapter 23 drops, it could be a little bit before. Hopefully it's a little bit before chapter 23 drops, but that's not important. Go like up this video, show some love, and yeah, if you're new and you like these style of videos, go ahead and drop a like. And let me know if you guys really want to see me keep doing reactions long term. We're already doing it kind of long term, but you know, let me know what you guys think about it. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Boruto is currently on a path to certain destruction. His opponent, known as Jura, is one of, if not the strongest character we've ever seen in the Naruto-Boruto universe.
Undoubtedly.
So much so that Boruto's most powerful jutsu, dubbed Rasengan Uzehiko, was rendered useless. This leaves Boruto in a very tough position without many options. But what if I told you there was another way? What if I told you that Jura has a major weakness and its name is Kirin?
Okay.
You see, this goes back to something very insightful Itachi said back in Naruto, which is that every jutsu has a weakness. This, of course,
The Go Itachi.
Jutsus, but also certain entities as well, depending on their body composition. One example of this being the Tail Beast's vulnerability to Genjutsu or Suigetsu being especially susceptible to lightning
yeah.
techniques. This is all possible due to a core mechanic of the universe being taken advantage of.
I don't know about you guys, but this just takes me back to the video I made about Boruto learning Sage Mode. I said that was the #1 weakness to the Ten Tails. Nature Energy, Senjutsu, that is one of the Tail Beast's weakness. So I say, you know what? It would make sense for Boruto to learn Sage Mode, to infuse his already overpowered abilities with Nature Energy. Although the Shinju do have awareness, so I don't know how that affects their weakness point or whatever. But all I said, it was a good idea for Boruto to learn Sage Mode, simply because they have trouble nullifying it. You see how Jura just nullified Uzuhiko like it was nothing, and actually Boruto landed numerous of Rasengans onto Jura, but they just didn't do anything. Now, if they was infused with nature energy, would it be a different story? Maybe, maybe not. But I can probably guarantee you it would take Jura a bit longer to recover from those blows. And that could be the difference between life or death in a battle like this. So just keep in mind, that's still a good idea. That's still out there. I'm putting it out there now. But of course, we're not talking about that. So, you know, let me put my Sage Mode propaganda back in the box. You know, we'll use that for later. But let's just keep going.
To understand why this is the case, we need to go back to the events of Naruto, specifically the events of the Fourth Great War.
Of course.
This is around the time the 10 Tails was brought back using the chakra of the 9 Biju along with the Gedo statue, which is of course the husk of the 10 Tails itself. This part is very important because this is when we learned that the 10 Tails is just a mass of natural energy. In fact, Kurama states that it's the same as that which circulates the world, that which you feel in the soil, the water, and air. We also got a visual representation of this immense power after Naruto tried to gauge it by entering Sage Mode. All we could see was just how immeasurable this power truly is.
Yeah, he's gonna pop up the panel I was talking about. Watch.
Themselves are just masses of enormous power that's capable of taking a physical form. The same applies to the 10 Tails as well, which means at its core, the 10 Tails is just a mass of natural energy in physical form. Now, the reason why this is important is because Naruto is able to damage Obito.
Exactly. Here he goes.
The Jinchuriki of the
there it is.
The
Senjutsu.
attacks are Senjutsu, which means that they use nature energy. So since the 10 Tails is nature energy itself, maybe you can counter nature energy with nature energy. This was especially unique to the 10 Tails Jinchuriki that was less affected by non-Senjutsu based techniques. Now, just to clarify one big misconception, the 10 Tails Jinchuriki isn't immune to non-Senjutsu based abilities. It just has high resistance to them. We know this to be the case since Sasuke was able to damage Jubito using Amaterasu that was amplified by Naruto's Rasen Shuriken while it was in KCM1. It showed steam emitting from Jubito's stomach after the attack, which is what's used to highlight the healing factor of a Jinchuriki. Though I guess one could say that it most represents the healing factor of a tailed beast since the same thing happened when Hidari healed from his injuries. In either case, it's proven that normal attacks can in fact damage a 10 Tails Jinchuriki and by extension the 10 Tails. It just has to be strong enough. And the reason why this is very important to clarify is that I've gotten a few comments on past videos wondering if Ikimoto simply forgot about this mechanical weakness the 10 Tails possesses.
I don't think he forgot about it. You see, the funny thing about manga artists is that they can do whatever they want. If they want Jura to be defeated a certain way, they're gonna have him be defeated a certain way. And it's sad to say, but that's one of the reasons why Mitsuki isn't as relevant as he is right now. Even though he does know Sage Mode, he has perfected Snake Sage Mode. Sage Mode by itself takes advantage of nature energy. If you could counter nature energy with nature energy, Mitsuki should be a way bigger factor than what he is already. Not saying he needs to go against the big bad Jura or whatever, but his attacks by itself should theoretically do way more damage than it does. Now so far he's only battled Ryu, and to be fair, that was kind of a poor mismatch because of Ryu's abilities and his hacks and whatnot. But if Ikimoto wanted to put Mitsuki against one of the Shinju, he already has an advantage in Sage Mode. Now granted, I mean, Mitsuki himself is not strong enough in base or in Sage Mode to really mess with the Shinju, so that's one reason why he's not a bigger factor in these battles. But at the very least, he shouldn't be useless. Let's just get that straight, he's definitely not useless. As you can see when he fought Ryu, he can hold his own. So you can have Sage Mode, but you still have to be strong enough to contend with the Shinju, or it's not really gonna matter. Like if we were saying Pain Arc Naruto in Sage Mode versus one of the Shinju, Naruto gets stomped. But he does significantly better if it was when he fought the reanimated third Raikage. So the point is not whether he wins or loses, but he will do significantly better because his Sage Mode has enhanced since then. Even going to Boruto, right? The Sage Mode he showcased back in like chapter 65 or something like that, when Boruto and Kawaki was fighting Code. I mean, yeah, that Sage Mode is significantly stronger than when he was a teenager. He can also hold it longer. So yes, the strength does matter too. That's why I said Boruto would be the only one who'd be able to really do any damage in Sage Mode versus the Shinju. Ah man, Mitsuki, you had it right there, buddy. You had it. You fumbled though.
The character simply not mentioning this doesn't necessarily mean that the writer forgot about it. They could be operating under that premise already without needing to explain that again to the audience. One indication of
Even
this
though
is the fact that
if it does
Mitsuki was
pop up,
sent
he will
on this
explain it
mission.
again.
And it wasn't random. Koji requested that Shikamaru sent these individuals, and there's likely a reason for that. We know Araya needed to be there since he has the Ryu countering Deus Ex Machina sword. Yodo had to be there to give Sarda that speech after sensing that she's hiding her true power, and Sarda had to be there to unlock that true power to defeat Ryu. And of course, Konohamaru had to be there to collect more L's. But what about Mitsuki?
He was bait.
That's likely because he was sent there to use.
Now, all jokes aside, Konohamaru, he did hold it down while they was taking care of Ryu. Like, being for real, the whole reason why Kashin Koji sent Konohamaru in the first place wasn't because of his battle power. It was simply the fact that Matsuri had a crush on him. He was the only one capable of occupying Matsuri while Ryu gets his back blown up by Sarada. So you gotta give him his flowers just because of that, strictly off of that. But everything else, I get what you're saying, yes. Yes, Konohamaru, he was just there to take L's, I guess. If you're just looking at it from a casual point of view, I hate Konohamaru, yeah. It's funny though, it's funny, so I could get with it.
That's why he was able to cause Ryu to cough up blood with a single stroke
Yeah.
of his sneeze.
He's basically
His powers
saying what
are
I was
more
saying.
effective against a being whose body is made up of material from the tentacles. It's like one of those mobile games where they tell you what type of magic user will be more effective against a certain enemy. And if
Did
you
he
follow
just
that
pull an
line of
ad?
attacks
Is this an
which
ad? Hold on. Is this an ad? Hey, that was clean though, Kidomaki. That was a clean little transition. I don't know. I don't think it was an ad. I think he was really trying to make a reference there. Okay, my fault.
users. I'm not sure why Mitsuki didn't use Snake Lightning in that fight, since not only would he have the Sage counter, but also Lightning, since it's established in Boruto's anime that Shinki's Sand is weak to Lightning. So that's very
true,
strange.
and I made that point.
Now, the Shinju
I made that
beams
point
aren't
multiple times.
necessarily just fragments of the tentacles, since they also possess.
Man, this is making me mad. He had everything in the bag. Snake, lightning, nature energy. I really think he should have had more role in that fight. He had all the tools to be able to contend with Ryu. Like he said, Mitsuki just wasn't strong enough. His base power wasn't strong enough. Man, if only he had some type of buff, Sarada's gonna get her buff. Himawari got her 9 tails. Boruto gonna get his buff soon enough. Kawaki just got his buff. Please, don't leave my guy Mitsuki out. Don't do him like that, Ikimoto. He deserves it. If anybody deserves the buff at this point, it has to be Mitsuki.
So one could argue that this would remove their weakness to natural energy, which is 100% possible, by the way, but that doesn't have to be the case. I mean, the Ten Tails Jinchuriki in Naruto was literally the merger of the Ten Tails and the human's chakra, that being Obito's or maybe Madara's. It also had the chakra of the other Biju as well, which technically came from the Ten Tails, but you get my point. So if Obito's chakra being mixed in with the Ten Tails didn't remove that weakness, I see no reason why a Shinju would be different. This means that someone who has the ability to manipulate nature energy or use sage attacks would be very valuable in this mission. Now notice that I did say manipulate nature energy or use sage attacks, and that's because they're not necessarily the same thing. In the sense that while you need the ability to manipulate nature energy to perform sage attacks, you don't need to be a sage to manipulate nature energy. A good example of this would be Jugo's natural affinity to absorb and use natural energy.
And
to the point that
Sasuke's
it could
curse
use
mark as
Sage
well.
Transformation, which is different from Sage mode. In fact, as explained by the great Toad Sage, or one of them, it's all about the balance between mental, physical, and nature energy. If you don't manipulate those three together carefully, you can't produce Sage Jutsu Chakra. And just to clarify one thing, mental and physical energy is what's used to amplify chakra itself. So in a sense, Naruto is just adding natural energy to the mix, which is then used to create a new type of chakra. So think Baron more than it should make sense. Now this then leads us back to Mr. Star of Hope, who hasn't yet shown the ability to use Sage mode or manipulate nature energy.
Okay.
So despite what I said before, what relevance does this have to Boruto? Well, that's where Kirin comes into the picture.
Alright, let's
this
see.
ability is pretty much Sasuke
Let's see what you
natural
got.
lightning and then redirecting it to his desired location, which then
Okay.
causes massive amounts of damage.
Yep.
The key thing to note from this is that Kirin is made from natural lightning.
Natural
which is
lightning.
pretty much nature energy. Again, nature
Of
energy
course.
or natural energy is that which makes up the soil, the water, and air. Which means that Kirin, which is made from the energy in the sky, would be very effective against the Ten Tails Jinchuriki or the Shinju. Also, just to clarify if I wasn't clear before, the weakness of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki was nature energy, not senjutsu. So senjutsu worked against the Ten Tails Jinchuriki because it also consists of nature energy. And the word consist is really important here because I'm sure some will argue that Kirin isn't strong enough to damage Jura when Six Paths Naruto tanked it, which is true.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't kill him, but it does make sense. I mean, when Sasuke and Boruto was training, I doubt they looked at the Ten Tails as a threat. That only became a real thing until Koji found Boruto. When Boruto and Sasuke were training, the focus was code, omnipotence, and maybe Kawaki. But even that being said, Kirin was still a must to be taught to Boruto. Like, let's look at it like this. If the Otsutsuki is the main threat going into Boruto's training, right? Kirin is the perfect technique for Boruto to learn. The first and number one reason why it's the perfect technique is because Kawaki can't absorb it. It's natural lightning. So, oh frick, that's a perfect attack to use on the Otsutsuki. I mean, Sasuke used it against Urashiki. It was pretty effective, but it didn't really defeat him or anything. Now, I can see where he's going with this. He did say Black Lightning Kirin, which is possibly stronger than this regular Kirin. So, hopefully, there is some merit to that theory because I would love to see that. But yeah, even if we don't think Ten Tails, Kirin is also a very useful technique to use against the Otsutsuki. But now it's an even better technique because you could use it against both the Shinju and the Otsutsuki. And also you need some form of fire style to make it work, or it's just not an effective technique to learn. So boom, Boruto learns fire style, and he also learns Kirin. So you guys can see how I like correlated Boruto learning fire style, and that is perfect.
Even though Kirin itself is natural lightning, Sasuke is the one controlling the ability using his chakra in the form of lightning release. That's why he has the Chidori on his hand directing the ability. And also why it shows Sasuke shooting chakra towards the sky. So Sasuke is controlling and directing it using his chakra, which would also influence its speed and also the strength of the ability as well. The opposite of this is of course implying that Gaara's sand moves at the speed at which sand blows in the desert, even when he's remotely controlling it with his chakra. This clearly wouldn't make sense since the speed at which Gaara can manipulate his sand changes along with the character, thus
I'm not gonna lie, I think I did make a video on Boruto mastering Black Lightning before. I really can't remember, but I think I did. I don't know if he's gonna make the correlation to Boruto using a Black Kirin, but so far we only seen him use Purple Lightning, so I really don't know about a Black Kirin, but I can definitely see a purple one, for sure. And would that look cooler than the original Kirin? 100%. I think he only said Black Lightning because it's supposedly the strongest form of lightning release or something like that. But let's see what he's gonna say. We got 2 more minutes of the video.
the same would apply to Kirin as well, thus going from a Daini Itachi being able to react to it by using his Susanoo to then being able to hit 6 Paths Sage Mode Naruto and a powered up Urashiki OTSUTSUKI.
Yeah,
So
and he
clearly
tanked
the
it
speed of
surprisingly
Jutsu
enough. Oh
based
my
on
god.
outside Sasuke, which would imply that it doesn't scale to the base speed of natural lightning. So it is likely that Zetsu was simply wrong or Kishimoto changed his mind, which would also make Zetsu wrong. So Kirin would of course scale to Boruto's power level, which he can then further amp using the planetary chakra he used to power Uzuhiko, thus becoming more effective. Again, the Ten Tails being weak to nature energy means that the effectiveness of nature-based attacks are multiplied, unquantifiably so. Which of course simply means that we can't use its effectiveness against characters like Naruto, Itachi, or Mr. Urashiki to gauge how much damage it would do to a Shinju. Also, I know that some would argue that Boruto would need to use fire style jutsu to heat up the sky to cause a thunderstorm, but this isn't really true. I mean, if you go back to when Naruto first met Sasuke at the start of Shippuden, Sasuke tried to use Kirin during the day with a clear sky. So this implies that Sasuke can also induce a thunderstorm using his lightning-based chakra instead of using a fireball jutsu.
I'm still gonna say he needs fire style. He definitely still needs fire style. Just because Sasuke was getting ready to use Kirin does not mean you don't need to use fire style first. It really all depends on the weather. You can't use Kirin without natural thunderclouds because it relies on manipulating natural lightning from those thunderclouds. That's the number one thing about Kirin. So if there's no thunderclouds, you cannot use it. Which is why without the mastery of fire style, it's such a situational technique that there's probably no point in using it. Or learning it in that case anyway. So it's like not every time you need to use fire style, right? There can be some thunderclouds in the sky and it not be raining or anything. But when there's clear skies, you're definitely going to need that. There's also a possibility you can use fire style to just heat up that area to amplify the intensity of the Kirin. Basically to create thunderclouds for where you're at only.
Stated in the databook to be the highest form of lightning release, at least according to Naruto Versity, which is normally correct since the information they use is from the databooks, but take it with a grain of salt if you want. I would say that it somewhat lines up with how it's portrayed in the manga, with Sasuke using it when mentally amped versus Naruto in part 1, later on when he infused Chidori with 6 paths chakra, and Kakashi doing it as well when he received Obito's 6 paths chakra. So, Black Lightning seems to be the most powerful form of lightning release, which can either be achieved with a power boost or through skill, as seen with Daru. So, just imagine Boruto's energy based Kirin
I could see it
boosted by his and the planet's chakra, allow it being the most powerful form of lightning.
I can see it, fellas. But instead of black lightning, I'm going to say purple lightning. Purple for sure. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Great video by Kirumaki. Very insightful, brother. Very insightful. Besides Kirin, what other abilities do you think Boruto has mastered throughout the time skip? Don't say the abilities, we already know. Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare say the abilities I already mentioned in this video. Let me get some new unheard abilities in the comment section. That's what I want from you guys today. So, anyway, I'm about to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, I'm gonna leave the link to Kiromaki's channel down below in the description. So just make sure you guys go show him some love. He works very hard on the videos, man. Like I said, one of the best Boruto content creators out there. Make sure you guys show some love. And yeah, that'll be it. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like this in the near future, go ahead and drop that like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers, which apparently isn't going to be this month. But anyway, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.